You're locked on to the number one radio station. Number one radio station.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The current time is 3:45 Eastern Time. Welcome to the last segment of tonight. My name is Joe, and I am the host with the most, and you have just tuned into the Joe Schmo No Show.
All systems go!
And in your face.
Please give a warm welcome for our next guest, Gina Arnold. Well, welcome back, Gina Arnold.
Thanks, Joe. I'm really glad you had me back on your show.
Yes, ma'am. And tonight, folks, we're going to be studying sociology with an up-and-coming Christian therapist. And for those who don't know, sociology is the scientific study of human society and social behavior. And with a wide range of topics, tonight we're going to be exploring equality and freedom, the nuclear family, and the high price of materialism. So, Gina, considering you're the guest for tonight, where would you want to take us from here?
I think you're right. There is a high price of materialism, Joe. People nowadays want to focus on how much they can get, how much money they can get, how many houses they can buy, how many cars they can buy. And I think that lowers your happiness. The world is really a complicated place.
You know, a lot of people think that they can buy happiness through riches, but you always hear of the millionaires and the billionaires who commit suicide. And so I see what you're saying, that though they seek happiness, they never obtained.
You're right. And we deal with a lot of stereotypes. You know, Joe, people are marginalized, but they need to create their own potential. All men are created equal, but we're equal in potential, not opportunity inclined all the time.
So in opportunity, you're saying that people are successful based on their surroundings?
Well, we all have the right to happiness.
Agreed.
But to pursue these rights, we do have equality in terms of or ability to apply ourselves to the pursuit of happiness. I can't identify with all minority groups, Joe, but I know one thing. I'm a woman, and I would consider myself minority status.
Is that because as a woman, do you feel that you get paid less for the job that you do?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay, listen. Do you feel that as a woman that men would get a job that you're applying for strictly because of gender?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
That is definitely a social institution that the men are head of the household. You know, they're the dominant influence in this group, and the women are caregivers or mothers, and they stay at home. See, gender is fixed in that area.
Well, a lot of women in today's job market are applying. Is it your belief that women should stop applying and stay home? Or are you an advocate for the woman to work if she wants to and get paid the wages she deserves?
Well, I think in the long run, being a woman, an American woman, and a caregiver and a mother whose future depends on being able to take care of myself independently. And here's where it gets tricky, Joey. I want to tell you that my dependence on God has made me the most independent I've ever been. But backing up a little bit, we started a conversation about me being a woman. I know I put emphasis on being an American woman because I'm truly grateful for that. But my status socially is defined as a mother.
Okay.
That's my master status right now. But my role in society is to be a professional.
Okay.
And I want to help millions of people. So I've been ascribed a female, just as like your status is a male or a dad, okay? But my achieved status is to work hard for God. And ultimately, since I serve God, my mission or my calling is to be a Christian therapist.
And how are you going to benefit others being a Christian therapist, being this Christian mother, being stereotyped by society, being underpaid for who you are because of your gender? What is your goal, and what is the future of other women who aspire to be like you?
That's an interesting question. I would like to promote intrinsic values. I think our socialization in this culture has gone from very institutionalized to being a little less institutionalized today. We're more tolerable today, let's say, than we were 50 years ago. I believe the institution of marriage today, for instance, is more faithful and more loving. Although, I must admit, the divorce rate has increased.
To me, I don't even, this is beyond my pay grade on what you're saying, but what I can relate to you is that I do see the divorce rate going, but it seems to me that you want to go back 50, 60 years ago in values than we are today. You don't think that the male gender is being attacked, and you're telling me that you can't even get paid a normal wage because of your gender, that the divorce rate is up. To me, it seems like society is completely backwards. We're having mass shootings in school, but they don't allow God in school. What are your thoughts on that?
Very true. Most households are single parents. They're on the rise. That's for sure. Let's say interracial marriage is on the rise. Same-sex marriage is on the rise. But getting back to taking God out of the school, what kind of influence is popular media having on our children today?
Well, the opposite of what having God in school would be. Having God in school would be the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt serve God and have no other gods. Thou shalt not be idolatrous. Today, idolatry is rampant. Little kids are trying to be older and have sex appeal when 20, 30 years ago, that wouldn't even be heard of in a child, and your neighbor would spank you. Now we have young people wearing lipstick. 6, 7-year-old boys are dressing up like girls, and it's illegal for the parents to establish their gender. So I get what you're saying, and I'm all for those old values.
Interesting that you brought up that. I think society and institutions is imposing structures on how people behave. And gender, what we do, how we rely on it. But, my question is, when is gender determined? Well, that's the $1 million question, isn't it, Joe?
I mean, the gender, obviously, according to science, is in the chromosomes. So, if you have a male who wants to become a woman, even though on the outside they get this scientific operation done to them, you can't change their gender. Gender is not something that you can change on the DNA level of a person. And that's what I know about it. And as a fellow Christian, that is where I stand with that. But I do believe in equality, as long as someone who wants to do that doesn't infringe on my right to say that that's not a woman. Like, let's take someone famous for example. If a superstar gets a sex change and wants to be called Caitlyn, but I know them as Bruce, why is it wrong for me to call her Bruce?
Interesting fact, Joey. And to tell you the truth, I'm not focused on biology. I'm not trying to
because
be a biologist.
This is sociology.
Right. And it's not internal though. By race or gender, it is more than biological. It's an idea of how we ascribe to be. But putting that aside, let's talk about functionalism versus conflict theory. I had some ideas in my head. You know, there are people that say you evolve over time, and the more important job might require more important training of what you can acquire. You know, what I was thinking about was the Kardashians. They're multi-millionaires.
I agree.
I don't think they contribute much to society. I don't think it took them years of training to get to their job. That to me is inequality.
Okay. But isn't this America where everybody has the ability to, get rich and by any means? I mean, I understand the fact that there are billionaires out there that get rich off of people sitting on the couch. But if they don't want to spend their money for anything philanthropic, then what is that to you?
Well, very interesting topic again. You know, it kind of brings me to the fact that I hear you talking a little bit about capitalism. We are in America, aren't we?
Yes.
Land of the free,
yes.
home of the brave.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take it back. Maybe in the 1800s, the late 1800s, Karl Marx, for instance, came up with this wonderful idea of communism. And he believed capitalism was the result of religion, not miracles. And communism was a huge failure, wasn't it?
And it still is. I mean, if you look at Venezuela, they're starving people. The military is oppressing people. Now, let me ask you a question. If human beings could get greed out of their soul, do you believe that communism would work?